Hello everyone, my name is Ben Reeds and welcome to my channel. So I know today's video is something that literally every single booktuber in existence is doing, but this is my first year doing booktube and this is the first time I actually get to do this. So I am doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which I haven't done before and I didn't know was a thing until every booktuber I follow started posting about it. So I'm really excited to talk about my book freakout for this year because I haven't had a chance to be a part of this yet, so I really hope you like this. So I have read 39 books this year so far. I am currently reading 2 more, so that'll be about maybe 41. 3 more, I'm reading 3 right now, so that'll be 42 by the time I finish those 3. And my reading goal for this year is to read 50 books because I am using this first year on booktube to get myself out of a 4-year reading slump. And I'm currently in a reading slump right now, and I can't find anything that I actually want to read, so I'm just reading short stories a lot. But I still want to do this tag because I've read some really interesting things this year, and I want to talk about it. So the first question is the best book I've read so far in 2021. And by far, I'm pretty sure the best book I've read so far is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I've read the entirety of ACOTAR this year, including A Court of Silver Flames, and I loved it. I really thought it was good. And A Court of Mist and Fury just kind of was there at the right time for me, so a lot of the things that happened in it really spoke to me. So I just I had a lot of emotions towards it and I really loved it. And I'm so glad that I read it this year because I had heard so much about it for so long that I was just oh, I've heard a ton of stuff about it. I don't really know if I'm gonna end up reading it. But then I did, and I ended up really liking it. I don't think I like it as much as Throne of Glass and Crescent City so far, but I did end up really liking it. My favorite book in the series was A Court of Mist and Fury. This book just had really good character building and really good insight onto how a traumatized character will react to horrible situations and to abusive relationships, which is something that I was kind of dealing with at the time, not with an abusive relationship, but kind of coming to terms with the fact that I've been in abusive relationships with different people in my life, and just kind of allowing myself to accept that and have the emotions that I didn't feel then. So that book just really hit hard for me at the time, and I really, really needed it, so it was definitely the best book I've read so far this year. So unfortunately, my first 2 questions are the same, book. So the second question is, what is the best sequel you've read this year? And the best sequel I've read this year is, again, A Court of Mist and Fury. I always say Mist and Ruin for some reason. But again, this book hit really hard for me, and it is a sequel, so it is still incredibly important to me for this question. The third question is a new release that you want to end up reading in 2021, or that you haven't got around to reading yet, but you're still really interested in. So the first new release that I've been interested in was The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I feel really bad, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but it's a book about a serial killer, I'm pretty sure, on a college campus. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a lot today, having a lot of issues, but I'm pretty sure it's about some Greek mythology stuff and a killer on a college campus and a bunch of interesting things about feminism and Greek mythology and college and kind of that dark academia feel. And I was really interested in it because I like thrillers a lot and I like crime, so I thought it would be a really cool book to read. I haven't got around to it yet because I heard it's really long and I can't have an attention span lately. I can't word today. My words sound terrible. Why am I like this? The second new release that I really want to read came out May 6th of 2021, which was The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This book looks really fucking cool to me because I love fantasy books and I love dragons, so I saw this book and I was instant TBR, I need to read this at some point this year. And I'm going to, I fully plan on reading it at some point, I just need to get around to it. I need to stop reading short story collections and start reading actual books again, because I've just been reading Stephen King short story collections lately because it's all I can get the will to focus on. So yeah, I really want to read this book and I'm really interested in the series and I hope it's good. The next question is the most anticipated book for the second half of the year, and that would be No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull. I am really interested in this book, mostly because the cover drew me in, but then I read the synopsis and it sounds really interesting and I would really like to like figure out what's going on. I've always liked myth stories and like kind of fantasy stories, so I was really interested in this one, and it comes out September 7th, I think. I have it written in my calendar, but I would really love to read this, and I hope it's good because I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been disappointed by a couple books this year, so just really hoping this one's good so I can like get out of this reading slump when I go into university. And speaking of disappointments, the next question is biggest disappointment of this year. And that would be From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I was told that this book was incredible and that this whole series was incredible. I thought this book was fucking awful, like god awful. I thought it was so bad, and that it like made light of abusive relationships. I hated the main guy. I thought he was ridiculous. And so like I saw a bunch of people on my Goodreads being like, I hate Sarah J Maas, but I love this, and I'm like, I like Sarah J Maas more than this. And it just, I hated the main character. She was so weak, she was so boring, she could never do anything by herself, and I hated it. I thought this book was horrible, and I gave it a 1 out of 5. I would tear this book from existence if I could. I hated it so much. And I don't even think I got to finish reading it. I think I read like 30%, maybe 50, but I was just like, wow, this is fucking bad. And it was just poorly written too. I just did not like it at all. My biggest surprise of this year would have been Misery by Stephen King, because I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, considering all the hate kind of around this book, saying that it's kind of boring, it's one of King's less interesting reads, but I loved it. I found it so much fun and so grounded in reality while still being extremely disturbing. I thought this book was amazing, and I thought it was one of the best books he's written, especially like as someone who's read quite a few Stephen King books at this point and is going to continue to read more to figure out like which ones I like of his and which ones I don't. And so yeah, I really liked this book, and that surprised me a lot considering my love-hate relationship with Stephen King. Favorite new author, debut, or new to you? So I'd say like my favorite new author that I've read this year, I haven't really read any debut authors, I don't think, but I really enjoyed reading V.E. Schwab's books. I read the first book of A Darker Shade of Magic and the first book of the Villainous series, and I loved both of them, and I can't wait to continue both those series. I thought they were both really good, and I really like her work, and I can't wait to get more into it. All three of our boys from all three of our boys from ACOTAR, they got my heart and soul. I love them all. Cadban from the Cruel Prince trilogy, and Victor from Vicious. I am a simp for morally gray characters. My new favorite character, again, is Victor from Vicious. I love him, especially now that I know that he's most likely or confirmed asexual. I love him. I relate. I love him. He was such a good character to follow, and I was so glad that the story was based around him, and I can't wait to see him in the rest of the books. So a book that made me cry. I don't cry at many books. I more get misty-eyed, so I'm gonna like consider misty-eyed the highest rung on the ladder for crying, because I don't cry very often anymore. I find it really hard to get emotional over things lately. Might be my antidepressants, who knows. But a book that made me really misty-eyed and like really close to crying was A Court of Silver Flame. Just seeing Nesta going through that kind of like hateful reaction to trauma, and seeing these characters that I've known to love through the other 3 books treating her really badly for it. And I see people complain about that a lot and be like, well, why are these characters romanticized in the other books, but then here they're like big assholes to her? Well, I think it's because it's from Nesta's perspective, and Nesta is seeing them as these villains towards her story, when at the end, when she's getting more stable, they're a lot more nice to her and a lot more welcoming. Like, it gives you a perspective on what she's going through and just like her struggles, and seeing her break down. It was very emotional for me. So I really liked it. I know a lot of people didn't like this book. I thought it was a great character study on trauma and pretty good smut book too, not gonna lie. Kind of cringy at times. I'm about it. So yeah, like I liked that book, and I did get very misty-eyed at the scene by the river, I think it was. So yeah. A book I found that made me happy this year would have been Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I loved this book. I think I have it on my favorites list now. And it was really fun. I really liked the dragons, I liked the fantasy, I liked the politics. It was really cool, and like especially going into Flamefall, seeing the world be built up more and like give more intrigue to all these things that are happening. I loved it, and I loved the relationship between all the characters. I loved how no one is generally a good person. Like everyone has their dark side and their like good side, and the characters just felt really well fleshed out. So I really liked that book a lot, and it made me really happy. Flamefall was a little bit less so than I found Fireborn was. I didn't enjoy it as much, but I still loved it. And the other book is Red, White, and Royal Blue. This book made me ridiculously happy and also misty-eyed at the same time. And it's a good book. I had so much fun with it. The most beautiful book I bought this year, based on cover alone, not the content. So for most beautiful cover, I was going to say my copy of an Enchantment of Ravens, but I don't have it anymore because I sold it. So I'm gonna say Fireborn again by Rosaria Munda. I think this cover is really pretty. I don't like it as much as the Enchantment of Raven covers, just by like a smidge, but that's just because I loved how like it was framed in the other one. It was very artsy. But I think this one is also beautiful, and I love the art on it, and just like the way the dragons like build up into the castle. Like I think that's really cool. And finally, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So the first book that I really want to read by the end of the year is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, I think. I own this book, but I've been too scared to read it because of how many people have cried at it, and I don't want to cry right now. Like I don't want a sad ending, and I know the ending of that one's a tearjerker, so I'm waiting on it for a little bit. I also really want to read the Red Rising saga by Pierce Brown. I'm planning on picking up this book soon. I know it's at my local library right now, so it's probably the next series I'm gonna read. So I'm hoping to start that very soon. And that is all for this video. My stomach has decided that it wishes me to feel absolute death. So I'm gonna end it here. I really hope you like this video. I know I sped through a lot of things, but I talk really fast and my brain is on like very quick mode today, so this is the best I could do. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more book-based videos and like book vlogs and stuff. And let me know if there's any ideas that you have for the channel going forward. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!